Welcome back to Dixie Alley Weather Center. My name is Caleb Crick. Today is Friday, October 10th, 2025, and I've got a lot of updates for you today, especially concerning our big storm system that we have just had move off the east coast of the United States that will really quickly spin up, not into a tropical system, but into something similar to a nor'easter that we would see during the winter that dumps a lot of heavy snow across parts of the Northeast. Except this time, instead of snow, it will be dumping heavy rainfall. Flash flooding is definitely in play across many areas along the East Coast, especially South Carolina and North Carolina, the outer banks of North Carolina, especially with all the flooding we've already seen. Coastal flooding will continue as we go deeper into the beginning of next week, and I'll talk about that all in this video, especially with the strong winds that we could see with this in excess of tropical storm force winds all up and down the East Coast. I'll also be talking about the return to above average temperatures we will start to see as we go into the middle and end of next week. Right now, we are sitting in some below average temperatures with many areas, even in the Appalachian Mountains, seeing some upper 30s, which we haven't seen much of in a very long time. But we will start to see some level of return of some above average temperatures as we go down the road, some areas even reaching into the 80s. All this and more included in this video, so let's get right into it. Here's a look at our view from satellite imagery right now of parts of the Dixie Alley and parts of the western Atlantic Ocean. You can see we got a lot of moisture continuing across much of the East Coast and parts of Florida. We've already seen a lot of flash flooding across portions of Florida, and that will likely continue over the next few days as this system gets its act together. But we will likely see this a low-pressure system start to build possibly over the next 24 hours and potentially start to move off to the north-northwest or north-northeast over the next few days, causing a lot of problems with very, very heavy rainfall. That is the main problem that we are definitely going to be seeing over the next few days. Regardless of what this system does, we're going to see a lot of rainfall across much of the East Coast. Flooding is definitely a possibility, and some heavy beach erosion, which we've already seen across many areas, especially in coastal North Carolina. We've already seen many homes collapse due to water inundation. We're likely to see a lot more of that, especially with the dangerous seas and the very strong wind gusts that we will be seeing over the next few days along the East Coast. We'll likely eventually see this move off to the northeast and cause some problems, even more problems up there. But once again, the main concern for us along the East Coast is going to be that very dangerous flooding and some very strong winds. The rest of us, however, throughout much of the Dixie Alley, remaining very calm and inactive right now. Very beautiful day across much of the central and western Dixie Alley. Very sparse amounts of clouds. Most areas seeing the sun right now, and it's a very cool day. Right now at my house it's only 72, and it's the middle of the afternoon, so it's feeling rather cooler than average. And we're likely going to see that continue through this weekend and into the beginning of next week. But later in the week, next week, is when we are going to expect to see some level of return of some more above average temperatures, and you'll see that in just a moment. But the main focus of our attention still remains on what is going on off the coast of the United States. We still got a lot of moisture that is continuing to build over the next few days along the East Coast and parts of Florida, already dealing with some of that rain. Some areas have already seen 1 to 2 inches, and we'll likely continue to see even more as we go throughout the next few days. We'll likely start to see low pressure build in and see more spin as we go into the next 24 hours as it starts to lift to the north-northeast and start to cause some problems. The winds are already pretty strong with this system, and they'll start to increase, possibly even to hurricane force winds as they move off to the north and east. We won't be dealing with the same level of winds as they will be seeing up to the north and east, but we will likely be seeing more of the heavy rainfall and more flash flooding, especially in areas like South Carolina and North Carolina. And we've already seen enough rain, to last several months along the East Coast, and we're going to continue to see more, likely with this system, a lot more, where areas could see potentially 5 to 10 inches, and even more locally in some spots if this remains closer to the coast. So let's just see what the GFS model is seeing as we go down the road. This is as we go into tomorrow. As early as tomorrow, the GFS model already has this system developing into a pretty strong low-pressure system. And once again, this isn't going to be tropical in nature. This isn't going to be like a tropical storm or hurricane, but it is going to be a very strong low-pressure system, no doubt. And we could already possibly see some problems with that flooding as early as tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening along the coasts of South Carolina and North Carolina. It depends on what model you're looking at. Some models show this taking a little bit longer to develop. Some models have this, shooting up a little bit faster and developing pretty quickly, like the GFS model. So once again, we could already be seeing impacts from the system as early as tomorrow. So make sure you are prepared for that Once again, this isn't going to be like a hurricane or anything, but this is going to be a very strong system, very potent system, kind of like a nor'easter, but without the snow. A lot of heavy rainfall, no doubt, and some very strong gusty winds building as we go throughout the day tomorrow and into Sunday. We'll continue to see those impacts. As this system, the GFS model is kind of having the worst case scenario with this system, with the low pressure system, and being right off the coast of the United States, which would cause the most problems with flooding because this would sit here for a long time. And it'd be a lot closer to the United States, causing more of that rainfall that would be farther out to sea if this low pressure system was farther away from the United States. And now it's showing more of this rain being drawn into the United States, more focused along the coast. So that could be a big problem, especially if this pans out and sits over the same areas for a while. Eventually, as we go into later into next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, it has this shooting away from the United States. Luckily, not like it was showing a few days ago, having to sit here for possibly even a week. That would be really bad with all the flooding. But once again, we still have a lot to track, a lot of time before this system, really plays out. Like, we still don't know exactly where this is going to go, how far out to sea it's going to be. But once this low pressure system builds, I'll have more of an idea of how close this is going to be to the United States, and have better of an idea of what the impacts are going to be felt, or what kind of impacts are going to be felt along the East Coast. And no matter what this system does or how far out to sea it is, we are going to see some level of problems with the very heavy rainfall we are going to be seeing over the next few days. You can see this is the GFS model, total rainfall accumulation. You can see many areas along the coast picking up 3 to 5 inches. This is a conservative model. Some models are showing this picking up from 7 to 10 inches of rain in some areas. You can see that along parts of the outer banks of North Carolina. We can see areas picking up from 5 to 7 or 10 inches, depending on how close the system is to the coast and how much rainfall we are going to be seeing with this system. If this system, takes longer to build up, if this sits farther out to the south for longer, it'll be able to intensify a little bit more and have a little more rainfall with this system and possibly cause some more problems with flooding. But regardless of where the system goes, we do know there is going to be some level of problems with the very heavy rainfall and the flash flooding. We are definitely going to be seeing some level of rainfall. The winds are still a little more uncertain with this system, especially because we don't know exactly how far or how close or how far it is going to be. But what we do know, what is really locked in, is how much rainfall we're going to be seeing. Now, going farther into the future, it's a little more uncertain for the rest of the United States, or the rest of the Dixie Alley. Most of us are going to be remaining dry. Some areas are going to be picking up some more drought conditions, more severity in the drought conditions, especially as we go down the road because of the dry weather pattern we're going to be seeing. Not a lot of rainfall across the rest of the Dixie Alley over the next 7 days. But the GFS model is picking up on some possible fronts that could move through, possibly as we go into the beginning of the week after next. We could start to see the return of some rainfall to the U.S., but that's still pretty uncertain. What the most certain areas that are going to be seeing rain is along the East Coast, and we are already starting to see some level of flooding in some areas, especially in Florida. So with that being said, here's a look at some of the winds we could see with this system as we go down the road. Once again, we're not expecting like some hurricane force winds, but we could see some areas picking up from 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts at times. And this could lead to some power outages, especially along the immediate coast and even farther inland areas like Raleigh, North Carolina. Gusty winds 30 to 40, maybe even 50 miles per hour. As we go into the future, into the next few days. So we will definitely see some strong winds with this system. Once again, I'm not expecting the winds to be the main threat. The rainfall, the heavy rainfall, especially with this being closer to the United States than previously thought, is going to be the main concern. But we could definitely see some problems and some potential power outages with this very strong wind gusts. The winds will increase the farther north you go, the farther north this system pushes, the stronger the winds will become. Some areas in the northeast could potentially pick up some even hurricane force winds. You can see around 80 mile per hour winds are possible in some areas in parts of Delaware and New Jersey, which would cause some power outages. So once again, not as big a problem with the wind for us in the Dixie Alley, South Carolina, North Carolina. We definitely will see some of those impacts. Some power outages are likely with this system, but once again, the main threat is going to be the flooding. And after this big system moves out and away from the United States, our attention will quickly shift to the temperatures. We'll start to see a big burst of above average temperatures throughout much of the Dixie Alley, especially the farther you go out to the west, we could definitely see some temperatures in the mid to upper 80s, especially in parts of Mississippi and Louisiana as we go down the road into the middle and end of next week. We'll start to see the increase in temperatures. Once again, we aren't going to be seeing any 90s or anything like that. Once again, summer's over. We're into fall. But normal temperatures around here high temperatures range from the mid 70s to the possibly low 80s, especially the farther you go out to the south. So we aren't really expecting 90s or anything like that, but it's definitely going to be hotter than it would normally be this time of year. Once again, I know we're seeing some of those cooler temperatures right now, but trust me, that is going to change as we go into the middle and end of next week, as we will start to see a big increase, a big uptick in the temperatures. It will start to feel a little bit more like summer-like conditions, especially the farther you go out to the west. Along the East Coast, it will still remain a lot more mild, a lot cooler for this time of year, especially with all the moisture we'll still have in place. Once again, after this system moves out of here, the rain isn't done. We're still going to continue to see some increased rainfall along the East Coast, and that is going to keep the temperatures down over here, at least for the time being. But the farther off to the west, it's going to start to get a little bit more above average, a little bit hotter as we go down the road. And once again, the tropics are remaining pretty inactive for the time being, at least for the United States. Our closest system is Tropical Storm Jerry, and that is going to be moving off to the north and eventually away from the United States as we go into the near future, not causing any problems to anywhere in the United States. We do expect to see some level of uptick in moisture in the Gulf and the Caribbean as we go deeper into the month of October, so we'll definitely be watching that down the road. But for the time being, things remain pretty inactive. We also have Tropical Storm Karen way out here, up to the north. We really didn't expect this. Really popped up really quickly. This is a subtropical system. It's really not. There aren't warm enough waters for this to be considered a tropical system, but this will likely become post-tropical as we go into the next 24 hours. And this, once again, isn't going to be causing any problems to anybody anywhere in the near future. So once again, the tropics are continuing to remain quiet and nothing concerning, especially in the next 7 to 10 days. And once again, that is all the weather info I've got for you today. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you click the like button and subscribe for more daily video updates like this one. Once again, I'll try to keep you posted and updated on what's going on with this big system as it develops and as we continue to track this as it moves off to the north and east. I'll continue to keep you updated on the flash flooding, along with the very strong winds and the power outages that we will likely see as we go into the near future as this system moves up the East Coast. Once again, after this system moves away, our focus will quickly shift to the temperatures as we will start to see the return of some level of above average temperatures to many areas in the Dixie Alley. Once again, thank you so much for tuning into today's video, and I will see you in the next one.